concept of multifunctionality into the area, and also the policy integration. Like how is it? So we interview various municipality, local stakeholders, and so on. And also we went to some on provincial level and also national level to look at that. So, but in order, when we made to choose this area, that was really done. Why did we choose this area? It was very done on the work package 3, when I tried to make a typology of rural areas. So they made a sort of 4 types of rural areas. The type 1 is like a strong decline. You have a population, the people are moving out, and no education standard, and the people who stay there. The rural type 2 is a strong population growth, moderate successful economy, and a high mix of economic activities.
Can you give examples?
Yeah, sure. Okay. And potentials in tourism and also high natural environment. The group 3 is more a moderate population growth and relative successful economic and also but you have a lesser skilled workforces. And the rural group 4 is a slight population growth, moderate economies, but the most important that the main activity there is agriculture. So that is, you can say very short that this is decline. This is more like natural tourism, to say it. This is a very mixed area. This is agriculture, to say it very roughly. And the use, and the thing is, like when you have the typology, you also can think of what kind of strategies do you need for different types of areas, and that is useful to provide materials to provide recommendations for how to make policies. Here you see the map where we show how we aggregate the data. Here you see the 4 types. Type 1, which is really decline, you see a lot of this former East Germany rural areas. You see the type 2 was much more the touristic and the natural areas. That's the red one. And the group 3, which is much more like a mix of various activities, is the green ones. Here is Somerset. And the rural group 4 is much more where the agriculture plays a dominant role, and here you see Kop van Noord-Holland. So that is the area. So I think I don't have maybe. Here you see like the different types of areas, all the case studies. In total it was 12 case studies, so we get representative from all 4 types. At the end added this Kyffhauser in the German at the very end. To get, so here you see them, but we're going to show the results from Kop van Noord-Holland and Somerset, and to look at them. So we start really to look through all policy documents on various scale levels, to the municipality, to the area itself, if there exists them on the provincial level, and on the national level. So we start to look at them, and we interview local stakeholders, try to identify, and then see how are they connected to each other, and just look at this. There's something wrong there. Here you see the 2 areas we look at, and I will first tell about Kop van Noord-Holland because that was my responsibility, and Alex will explain Somerset. So the interesting with this area is that it has quite high number of population in comparison with other European rural areas. And this is a very strong agriculture area, you see it on the map. And it has outside what you call Pillar 1, the direct farm support, all outside that it has very few EU support in the area. It's very sort of, you have some leader funding, what you call it's the Pillar 4 of the CAP, who support a sort of bottom-up approach in the western areas. And what we find in this area is that here we have a multifunctional agriculture, but here we have multifunctional of other activities like tourism and recreation and farming and tulps, and so that is what we discover in this area. And here you see it's very split up of smaller municipalities. And what we decided to go in depth in Wiedingemeer. It's only 50 years old. It's reclaimed land, very modern, large-scale agriculture municipality. Schagen, which was really old, very old historical town, and Zijpe is a sort of this part is very like old reclaimed land. This was sort of island before it was a sort of water. So we went through that, and then also we were looking at all the actors. And then in this area you have this part, we have a sort of local action group, of local initiative, what you call the Agri Port and the Agri Board. So sort of where all the leaders making a sort of board representing the interest, and they say that together we were strong. First we will beat the province, and then we go to The Hague, and then we go to Brussels, like to show our interest. So what we find very clear, what is the endogenous potential or the territorial capital in this area, is that there's a very strong will to work very hard. This was the area of Schagen. It's like, that is the town Schagen. This is Zijpe, municipality of Zijpe. And here is Wiedingemeer, there was water. So that was the area for 500 years ago. You see like how it has developed, like through history, like a sort of. And here you see what kind of business. Here you have large-scale business, like the modern agriculture, and here you have this very small-scale, fine-grainedness of business. So that is. But what we find when we went through the documents is that the area on national and provincial level, it was somehow forgotten. It runs well, but they were very good in visualizing, like their policies, like they put it on, really on the map. And when we had also the workshop with the stakeholders, after interviewing them one by one, had a whole day workshop, they were just drawing the scenarios and thoughts about the area just on maps. In comparison with the British case, they were really, they used much more words. So that was here. So, but what we find in all the interviews, you have a sort of called Natura 2000 areas, like protection areas here and here. And all the stakeholders, they have a sort of very negative attitude because it's like protection and like this. And we realize also that the water management play a very important role. It has the last word in all kind of plans. And then you have this very strong agri-port and agri-board dealing in these areas, and here it was like the touristic areas that we find here. And we realized that these actors were really cooperating very well. Here there was some sort of small conflicts because of the multifunctional land use, how to deal with tourism, flower production, farming. That is what we discovered. Here you see multifunctionality in agriculture, and here you see like here are the pink one are like the flower production, and here you see like all kind of production in the area. And here's an image of the areas. So it's described as flat, open, and windy, dominated by agriculture. And on a national level, we realized also it was completely, more or less, forgotten. They say that the only thing potential is like for windmill parks on the national level, because it runs very well. Here is the agri-port area, and there's an image. Here the old town Schagen, which exists for many years, and then you have a new town, Wiedingemeer, which is only 50 years old. So that was. So what did we say to sum up? What were the findings?